Friday, March 27, 2026, 2 p.m. A quiet two-lane road in Jupiter Island, Florida. A Range Rover moving at high speed. A truck pulling a trailer, trying to turn into a driveway. The driver looks in his mirror, and what he sees coming behind him makes his stomach drop. 3 seconds later, the Range Rover clips the trailer, flips onto its side, and slides down the road. The driver of that Range Rover crawls out of the passenger window, stands up, looks around, and the whole world recognizes who it is. Tiger Woods, arrested on the side of the road for the second time in his life. This is not just a sports story. This is not just a DUI story. This is the story of the greatest golfer who ever lived, and what happens when the body of a legend finally starts to break down in ways that even a legend cannot control. Stay with me, because this one is deep. Before we get into what happened on that road, you need to understand exactly who Tiger Woods is, because without that context, you are just watching a man crash a car. Tiger Woods is not just a golfer. He is arguably the most dominant athlete in the history of any individual sport. He has 82 wins on the PGA Tour, tied for the all-time record. He has won 15 major championships. He was the world #1 ranked golfer for 683 weeks, not months, weeks. When Tiger Woods won the 1997 Masters at just 21 years old, he won by 12 strokes. 12. In a tournament where winning by 1 stroke is considered dominant. He made golf appointment television. He made an entire generation of people who had never touched a golf club care deeply about a sport they knew nothing about. And then, just when it seemed like nothing could stop him, his body started keeping score. 7 back surgeries, more than 20 operations on his leg alone, a torn Achilles tendon, injuries that would have ended most athletic careers 10 times over. And yet Tiger kept coming back, every single time. He won the 2019 Masters after everyone, and we mean everyone, had written him off completely. It was one of the greatest sporting comebacks in human history. But comebacks have a cost, and that cost is what this story is really about. If you are feeling the weight of this story already, you are exactly where you need to be. Welcome to Tales from the Psyche, where we go deeper than the headline and tell the full story. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on your notifications. We drop stories like this every single day. Now let's talk about the pattern nobody wanted to see coming. Here's what the headlines are not telling you, because what happened last Friday was not the first time. It was not even the second time. It was the fourth. Let's go through them. 2009. Tiger Woods drives his SUV into a fire hydrant outside his Florida home at 2 a.m. The world later finds out it is connected to the beginning of the most public personal scandal in sports history. His career and his marriage would never fully recover. 2017. Police find Tiger Woods asleep behind the wheel of his running car in Jupiter, Florida at 3 a.m. The car has 2 flat tires. Tiger is barely conscious. He later tells the world alcohol was not involved. It was a bad mix of prescription medications from his back surgeries. He pleaded guilty to reckless driving, checked himself into a treatment clinic, said he was getting help. 2021. Tiger is driving in Rolling Hills Estates in Los Angeles. His SUV leaves the road completely. It rolls multiple times. When rescuers get to him, the situation is so bad that doctors later tell him they considered amputation of his leg. He spent 3 weeks in hospital, had rods placed in his tibia, had screws and pins inserted into his foot and ankle. He told reporters his body does not recover the way it used to, that he has had to fight through things that most people would not survive. And then last Tuesday, just 3 days before the arrest, Tiger was back on the course. Playing in the TGL Indoor Golf Finals, his team lost, but people who watched said his swing still looked powerful, still looked like Tiger. 3 days later, Friday at 2 p.m., his Range Rover was on its side on a quiet road in Jupiter Island. Here is exactly what went down, second by second. Tiger Woods is driving northbound on South Beach Road, a narrow 2-lane road close to his home. The speed limit is 30 miles per hour. A truck pulling a pressure cleaning trailer is up ahead, starting to turn into a driveway. The driver looks in his mirror and sees the Range Rover coming, and it is not slowing down. The truck driver tries to get off the road, but there is no shoulder, nowhere to go. The Range Rover swerves, but it is too late. It clips the back of the trailer, and Tiger's Land Rover flips completely onto its driver's side and slides down the road. Tiger crawls out of the passenger window. No serious injuries to him or the truck driver. When deputies arrive, they find Tiger standing by the wrecked vehicle, and immediately, something is not right. The arrest affidavit later reveals exactly what the officers observed. Tiger was sweating profusely. His eyes were bloodshot and glassy with extremely dilated pupils. His movement was described as lethargic and slow. They conduct field sobriety tests, adapted to his physical limitations because of his 7 back surgeries and more than 20 leg operations. Even seated, Tiger makes multiple errors, starting exercises before being told to, not counting steps correctly. The deputy's conclusion: Tiger's normal faculties were impaired, and he was unable to safely operate a motor vehicle. They give him a breathalyzer. He blows triple zeros, no alcohol. Then they ask for a urine test. Tiger refuses, and that refusal, that one decision on the side of that road, becomes its own criminal charge. He is arrested, handcuffed, taken to Martin County Jail by 3 p.m. His mugshot, bloodshot eyes, blue polo shirt, is released to the world within hours. He is held for 8 hours under Florida law, released just before midnight. Photographed grimacing in the passenger seat of a black SUV as he drives through a swarm of paparazzi into the night. I need you to pause for 1 second. If this story is hitting different, if you are seeing the full picture for the first time, that is exactly what Tales from the Psyche is built for. Hit that like button right now. It costs you nothing, and it helps this story reach people who need to hear it. Now, because we still have to talk about what this means for the Masters and for Tiger's future. Tiger Woods now faces 3 charges, all misdemeanors: driving under the influence with property damage, refusal to submit to a lawful test, and a 3rd count connected to the crash itself. The Martin County Sheriff, John Budensick, held a press conference and made something very clear. He said, and this is a direct quote, "It doesn't matter who you are. If you break the law, we're going to follow the law. That's a really easy path to take." He also confirmed that Tiger was kept away from the general jail population, not as special treatment, but for his own safety, because putting Tiger Woods in a general holding area would create its own chaos. Legal experts who spoke to news outlets in the days after the arrest say the DUI charge may be difficult to prove in court, because without the urine test, there is no definitive proof of what substance was in his system. The fact that he blew 0 for alcohol complicates the prosecution's case significantly. But here is what the legal charge is not the point of. The point is what this does to Tiger Woods' life, right now, in this moment. The Masters tournament begins April 9th. That is 9 days from today. Tiger had been quietly working toward a possible return. His whole week before the crash was about seeing if his body could handle competitive golf again. That question now has a very different answer. And then there was another deadline hanging over him. Tiger had been offered the job of U.S. Ryder Cup captain for the 2027 matches in Ireland. The PGA of America wanted a decision by the end of March. He has not responded. And after Friday, that conversation looks completely different. President Trump, who called himself a close friend of Tiger's, told reporters the day of the crash, "I feel so badly. He's got some difficulty. There was an accident, and that's all I know. Very close friend of mine. He's an amazing person, but some difficulty." Tiger himself has said nothing publicly, not a single word. Now here is the part of this story that matters most, and the part that the sports world does not always want to sit with. Tiger Woods has had 7 back surgeries, more than 20 procedures on his right leg alone, a torn Achilles tendon in March 2025 that kept him off the course for an entire year, injuries so severe that in 2021, doctors considered removing his leg. This is a man who has been managing serious, chronic, relentless physical pain for over a decade. And in that world, pain management means medication, prescription medication, the kind that saved his career multiple times, and the kind that has now put him on the side of a Florida road twice in less than a decade. In 2017, he told the world the medications affected him in ways he did not expect, that he did not realize how strong the combination was. 9 years later, same road, same county, same state. When he told the deputies at the scene of the crash that he had taken medication for his prior injuries, he was not making an excuse. He was telling the truth of his life. A body held together by rods and screws and sheer willpower. A man who keeps trying to come back, who keeps saying he wants to play, who just 3 days before this crash was swinging a golf club and people said it still looked like Tiger. And then, Friday at 2 p.m., this is not a story about a man who does not care. This is a story about a man who is fighting something much bigger than a golf tournament. Here's what I want you to sit with when this video ends. Tiger Woods became the greatest golfer who ever lived by refusing to accept limits, by coming back from things that would have ended anyone else, by operating through pain that most of us will never experience. And that same refusal, that same stubbornness that made him a legend, is also what keeps putting him in rooms he should not be in, on roads he should not be driving, making decisions that the world then has to watch play out in real time. The sheriff said it best. It does not matter who you are. The law is the law. But behind the law, behind the mugshot and the charges and the paparazzi outside the jail, there is a 50-year-old man whose body has been through more than any athlete should have to survive, and who still has not figured out how to stop. Whether that is courage or tragedy probably depends on which Tiger Woods story you fell in love with first. I will see you in the next one. That is the full Tiger Woods story. And if this moved you, if you saw something in this that the sports headlines missed, then Tales from the Psyche is your channel. We tell the stories behind the stories every single day. Subscribe right now if you are not already on the team. Share this video with somebody who needs to hear it tonight, and I will see you in the next one.